The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Not a chance. That's what the president of the Residential Construction Council said when asked if this Prime Minister would keep his promise to build 3.9 million homes by 2031. So let's hear it from the Prime Minister. To reach that target, he'd have to build 550,000 homes per year. So yes or no, will the Prime Minister hit the target of 550,000 homes this year? Yes or no?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Speaker, Canada is facing a housing crisis, and we need to take real action towards it, which is what we...
That you created, oh my goodness. He's in crazy denial.
That this country's ever seen. But, Mr. Speaker, that's not to say we haven't had housing crises before, and it's not to say we haven't solved housing crises before. At the end of World War II, there was a need for massive new housing, and Canada stepped up and got that housing built. Indeed, when the boomers came of age, there was a need for massive housing, and we made investments, and the federal government helped build housing across the country for boomers. We are doing that now as we build housing.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
That was a wonderful history lesson, except it didn't answer the question. He promised he'd lower housing costs in 2015. He doubled them.
Pierre.
He promised he'd double home building. It actually went down and is still dropping. But now he's promising 3.9 million brand new homes by 2031. That means he'd have to build 550,000 this year and every year. So once again, will the Prime Minister keep his promise to build 550,000 homes this year? Yes or no?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the Leader Opposite speaks of 2015. Well, we took office with a commitment to get this government back, the federal government back in the business of building housing. We launched a national housing strategy in 2017 that put 2.5 million Canadians into new or refurbished homes, and we've continued to invest ever since. We're building homes on public lands. We're converting underused federal offices into homes. We're taxing vacant lands to incentivize construction. We're building apartments, bringing rents down with top-ups to the apartment construction loan program. We're scaling up modular housing. We're launching Canada Builds to lead a Team Canada effort to build more homes and more, Mr. Speaker.
Chef de l'Opposition.
The question was not how quickly he could read off talking points written for him by his staff. The question was whether he's going to break yet another housing promise. Remember, he promised he'd lower housing costs, he doubled them. He promised he'd double the number of homes built, they went down. Now he's promising 3.9 million new homes by 2031. That means 550,000 new homes this and every year. Will
that's 1,500 homes per day.
Keep that promise? Yes or no?
There's no way. That's 1,500 houses per day. That's your economy would have to be banging.
Criticism is there's too many measures in our housing plan. Housing should be solved by a simple one-size-fits-all solution, according to the Leader of the Opposition. That's perhaps how he managed to build only 6 affordable homes when he was Minister of Housing. Because yes, we have a broad range of initiatives that are delivering on housing, like topping up the Housing Accelerator Fund with $400 million, a new $6 billion Canada Housing Infrastructure Fund to help communities build. We're leveraging transit funding to build more homes. We're launching a housing design catalog. We're incentivizing more skilled trade workers.
The Right Honourable, the Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
He's announcing a catalog, everybody.
Oh my God!
Afford a home. You might end up in a tent. Your rent is doubled, but hey, you've got a brand new catalog. Mr. Speaker, the question was, will he build 550,000 new homes? Yes or no?
Hey, let's get some W's in the chat. That was entertaining, making a mockery of the government.
He mentioned the history lesson. Well, if he was housing minister, he should have known that the way we we solved the housing crisis after World War II was by putting forward a catalog of homes that builders could access to build extremely rapidly right across the country. So yes, that's one of the measures we're bringing back. And his mockery of concrete initiatives that are going to deliver for Canadians is exactly what's wrong with his approach. He'd rather mock and insult than actually roll up his sleeves and get solutions built for Canadians.
The Liberals can't even all stand up together in unison. That's so pathetic.
Order.
He still didn't answer the question. That's crazy.
The honourable member from London Fanshawe.
Report after report has shown that women who serve in the Canadian Armed Forces are not safe, and consecutive governments have failed to act urgently. Shamefully, a new report revealed that 5% of women have been sexually attacked at their military colleges in the last 12 months. Justice Arbour was clear. Now is the time to end the toxic culture that exists within these colleges. Women deserve a safe place to train and to learn. When will the Prime Minister act to protect women who are the future generation of the Canadian Armed Forces?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we absolutely agree that the culture at the Royal Military College needs to change. That's why we took action. We appointed the Canadian Military College Review Board last year to enable meaningful culture change at these institutions. No RMC cadet and no CAF member should ever be subject to harassment, discrimination, or misconduct. The Minister of National Defence will not hesitate to implement the necessary changes to protect cadets and all officers.
This morning, a shocking article in La Presse says that children escorted by police to leave daycares because of homeless people and injection sites next to them.
Oh,
I'm quoting
God.
the director of the daycare. It's not normal to have to walk through with policemen around a daycare. Why, with the support of the Bloc, is this Prime Minister putting our children in danger by allowing violent repeat offenders take drugs on our streets? The Right Honourable Prime Minister, Mr. Speaker, nurses, hospital personnel, and all patients and Canadians should be able to feel safe in their workplaces and in hospitals. This is our government has supported $1 billion in the healthcare system to make sure Canadians have access to the best healthcare possible. The difference between us and the Conservative Party is that while they seek to criminalize those who are most vulnerable, drug addicts, we are rolling up our sleeves and working at all levels of government to resolve this crisis.
Then I have
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition, Mr. Speaker, he didn't hear the question. It was in terms of daycares. Yes, because of the decriminalization in BC, nurses had to breathe in crack and meth fumes. But now I'm talking about Montreal, where his policies led to the liberation of violent criminals and drugs in the streets next to a daycare. Once again, my question, why is the Bloc and the Liberals, why are they not accepting our common sense plan to eliminate drugs and put criminals in prison? The Right Honourable Prime Minister, Mr. Speaker, what the Conservative leader is proposing is a step back to policies of the Harper years, which failed in the fight against drug addiction. And even one of the government's Harper advisors recognizes that it was a clear failure. We're going to continue to be here to make sure, assure security for everyone, including for children in daycares, with a compassion-based approach, health-based approach, and keeping people safe. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition. Many Canadians want to go back to the days when children didn't need police officers at their daycares, Mr.
Yeah,
Speaker.
man.
But
It's even crazy that they're at high schools and stuff like that.
Liberal government is not worth the cost. The Bloc voted for $500 billion in inflationary bureaucratic spending and centralizing spending. This has caused 60% of consumers to say that they are in stress. When will the Bloc change its tax and inflationary spending on the backs of Quebecers? The Right Honourable Prime Minister, Mr. Speaker, the Conservative leader has just explained that his approach is austerity. Austerity for a government that would make it hard for people. We have chosen to invest to help Canadians. For example, help seniors with dental care. And since the beginning of May, there have been more than 100,000 seniors able to obtain dental care across our country. This is an initiative that helps keep costs down and take care of vulnerable people. And the Conservative Party will continues to vote against it and even tried to block it across the country. This is shameful. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
About austerity, well, I think that the Bransfield family of 4 in Calgary can tell him all about austerity, because that's what they're living right now because of his housing hell, his carbon taxes, and his inflation. They said, close quote, "We're having to choose between paying a bill or getting food, and that can be really hard. It makes things really difficult. And I just don't see an end in sight. Will the Prime Minister accept our common sense plan to axe the tax, fix the budget, build the homes, so that the Bransfield family and so many others can eat, heat, and house themselves?"
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I disagree with the Leader of the Opposition.
Of course you do.
Take away the Canada carbon rebate checks that arrive 4 times a year in the bank accounts of the Bransfield families. Indeed, 8 out of 10 Canadians, according to the Parliamentary Budget Officer, are better off with the Canada carbon rebate as we fight climate change with the price on pollution. 8 out of 10 Canadian families from coast to coast in the jurisdictions where the carbon price applies are better off. That includes, most likely, the Bransfield family, and we will continue to be there for them.
The Honourable Member for Belleuil-Chambly. Let's not be mistaken. I have the great respect for the state of Israel, but things have to stop. With this in mind, is the Prime Minister ready to support the ICG and the ICC to adhere to international law and help all peoples who could be subject to arrest on Canadian territory? And is he ready to apply the Canadian sanctions regime to Israelis who openly commit crimes against humanity in the Gaza Strip?
The
Right Honourable
Rafah
Prime Minister.
thing?
Mr. Speaker, Canada supports the independent work of the ICJ and the ICC. We are here to support the process and to ensure that everyone follows international law, including the rulings of these courts. We are here to support processes multilaterally to make sure that international law is adhered to. We are a country of rule of law, and we will remain so.